There was an opportunity for us at Target to really understand how we can better educate and help connect our interns to the community in which we would ultimately want them to relocate to. And so I had a vision, I didn't know how to execute it, and I was introduced to Make It MSP as a potential resource. Not only did we have other people who came to the table, other companies come to the table that were in similar situations, but we were able to turn that around into a quick action plan to provide content and programming for over 1,200 interns. It's going to take the collective effort of the community to ultimately make MSP be the destination of choice. And so alignment is a key factor into how we're going to be able to do this going forward.
Accountability for me is a word that we can't have alone. For me, I think we have to have shared accountability. And accountability means that we have to define what we aspire to achieve. And it means that we need data to rely on. Data is a driver to action. In the average organization, we say what gets measured gets done. The same is true when it comes to our region. When we see the regional indicators dashboard start to improve in certain areas, then we know what actions we can do more of and what actions we should stop doing. Unfortunately, for the last several years, we've been motivated in some ways by finding out that we are not as strong and inclusive and progressive as we would have liked to have believed. Together, we can start to drive shared accountability, but we all have to be at the same table, and that's another place that the partnership comes into play. When we're all talking to one another, when we're all working together and measuring the same things on a regular basis, we can start to measure change and change that actually matters. And ultimately, we all become accountable, not just to one another, not just inside our organizations, but accountable to our community. And that's where it really starts to matter.
We want to reflect our communities. We increasingly realize that our communities are getting more diverse, and I'm committed to having diversity in my company as a result. Connects MSP is really a database, if you will. Think about LinkedIn, where we can track students after they do their internships. Kids of color and low income see the opportunities that are out there for them. And then when they graduate, we as businesses want to host that database because we see the business sense of getting first opportunity to hire these kids that many of us are making investments in. Now let's invest in them further in their careers, getting jobs right here in Minnesota, which guess what? We need the workforce. So I'm really excited about the opportunity to better serve our community, get everybody involved in employment. That's inclusion, that's diversity, and that's a good business decision, and in addition to being the right thing to do.
Bunker Labs, Minneapolis in particular, supports military veterans pursuing entrepreneurship and innovation. In part, it's ecosystem development, putting the right people in touch with one another. In part, it's about providing them the appropriate resources and connections at the right time for their business to grow and scale. And sometimes it's just providing them tangible benefits, things like physical space or access to other materials that they can use to help grow and sustain their business. So we here at Minneapolis and St. Paul have a terrific opportunity. I really am a believer that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And through infrastructures and partnerships with organizations like Forge North, we're able to share ideas, with one another. And so I compel you to think about how innovation matters, not as some far out goal, not as something that we do in a 3 to 5 year strategic plan, but something that we need to affect today in our community.
So in partnership with Greater MSP, what Minneapolis and St. Paul really both realized is that in order to focus on our communities, we needed to work together in our own teams and then come together as a region and compare notes and work together on the regional issues. So the East team was formed to represent the issues particular to St. Paul. And transparency is hugely impactful in this work. And so the East team really brings that to life for us in St. Paul. And transparency builds trust too. If I've got a particular priority around downtown St. Paul and someone else is looking to drive a development around the University of Minnesota, We have to trust one another, otherwise we're not willing to support one another, particularly if in the short term I might be losing. Look, the easy economic challenges are done. It's hard work because the easy work is done. And so the only way that we can advance a region's vitality is to work together.